Hello and welcome back to another episode. Now, this afternoon, I just want to quickly talk to you about my new computer games cupboard. I have sat here before in previous videos when I've been talking about, I think, for example, my Xbox 360 collection. I've sat in front of essentially an open bookshelf that was sitting here, and that was getting to be a problem. The games were just too many, and they were filling up the bookshelf. They were kind of hard to get at. It was like playing Jenga, getting at the ones at the bottom, and also as well, they were sort of spilling out onto the floor and then over onto the table next to the shelves, and my wife wasn't too happy. So I had to do something about it, and really, I'm just making this video just to talk a little bit about, I suppose, my thought process, and then actually ultimately what I ended up doing. Because I think this is quite an important tip, and that is essentially don't go new, if that's what I mean. My first thoughts when it came to getting a new storage solution, was to go to something like IKEA, or look online in terms of local department stores, this kind of thing, and try and find something which was either sort of modular or was sort of like a big wide bookshelf, instead of just being one set of bookshelves, essentially two sets of bookshelves that would fill up the whole space. And I started doing that, and it was very expensive because of the sort of the designer element, especially if you wanted to have perhaps also elements of display. I mean, for example, I would love somewhere in this house to have a display cabinet at some point, but it's just not feasible right now. But even they cost even more. Glass cabinets that you can put LED lighting, or that even come with lighting in them. So I was getting despondent. But then actually, my wife and a couple of other people, coincidentally at the same time, suggested some local companies which sort of pick up furniture from people's homes which is not wanted, and then they sell it on as a charitable endeavour. So the profits that they make go directly to helping usually sort of hospices or homeless shelters and this kind of thing. And I thought, okay, that's a good idea. Let's do that. And we started looking round, and I wasn't getting anywhere. If you want, literally, I came across there was a marble table, like something out of a naff version of King Arthur. This huge sort of stone table. That was in a charity shop, but something to put computer games in wasn't there. There were bedside cabinets, there was a couple of bookshelves, there was a TV cabinet, there was things like fire surrounds, this kind of thing, but I just couldn't find what I was after, and I was getting increasingly frustrated. And then eventually we came to this place which was stores their stuff, and it's actually based in the whole enterprise is based in a warehouse in a place called Byker. And when we were in there, we came across this one piece of furniture that was really just wrong. It was I think, as my gran would say, it was wearing a fur coat, trying to be all that kind of thing, and when it's really not. I think she's a bit more rude when she talks about ladies of the night kind of thing. But basically, it was all frill, it was all fancy, it was trying to be like an antique, and it was just wrong in every possible way. And yet it was kind of cool in a sort of kitsch sort of way, and like my wife was really enthusiastic about it. She was like, she was like, yeah, we've got to get that, woo! That really over the top enthusiastic, and I just couldn't quite see it working. It had 3 drawers at the top, 2 large cupboards at the bottom, and it was bigger than the thing we ended up getting. But I just couldn't quite bring myself to sort of bringing it home. And also, actually, frankly, it meant a delay. It meant actually waiting for the delivery and so on and so forth. So we actually went to the back a shop, as it were. And having seen this thing, which I never would have normally considered, I was now open. My mind was open. I wasn't looking for bookshelves anymore for this thing here. I think this was probably some sort of drinks cabinet at some point. Maybe it was a record player cabinet, but basically it's a big cupboard with 2 drawers underneath, and it is just perfect. It's just right. And this sort of feels a bit like a Goldilocks kind of story. You know, like I saw all sorts of things which were wrong, something which was just a bit, a bit big, as it were, and then something which was just right. And it's just right because the two drawers are the right depth to have a DVD box or a computer game box, I suppose, stand upright on it, so it's spine up in the drawer. And then the cupboard behind me can store pretty much the rest of the games which were bleeding out around the bookshelf that used to be here. And I picked this up for it was 35 it was marked as, and I got it for, I offered 28 and he said he'd take 25. So £25, and I've got an antique piece of furniture, and it is, you know, it's sort of like from the late 40s perhaps. You know, it's not that old, but it's old enough. And it's on wheels. It rolls around. It's got space on top to display items which I haven't been able to put in one place so far. And it's just perfect. And I suppose what I would suggest to you guys is don't go for what you might think of first of all in terms of game storage, because there are bargains to be had out there. You know, solid wood furniture, solid back to this piece of furniture. It's not like got that cork board backage or whatever, no, hardboard back rather. It's proper furniture, and it's not too expensive at all, and it stores everything that was here in a nice, neat cupboard. So yeah, genuinely, I would highly recommend it. And this is a bit of a part story, part recommendation, part public service broadcast, I guess. But it's really not what I expected to get when I went out. Actually, I was searching for 2 days in total. I spent one day searching on my own, couldn't find anything, and the second day, my wife and I went out, and this is what we ended up getting. So, yeah, it's an odd one. It's an odd little story, but I thought it was important to share because initially I was just thinking I'm going to have to buy some square, series of squares like modular shelves or something, and it's not always what you need. And in my case, I'm not really wanting to display all the games in the living room. I have the games on display elsewhere in the house. I just want them stored neatly and accessibly, and that's what I found. Anyway, guys, hopefully you found this vaguely useful. And as I say, if you come across actually something which is completely unexpected, which I still wouldn't expect, do let me know below what sort of furniture you use to store your games, because I think this is it's something where we all sort of slip, we all kind of fall into a way of thinking when it comes to this sort of stuff, and I think it's been healthy. Certainly a really good exercise just to try and crack open some of those assumptions. Anyway, as ever, until next time, do take care. Bye bye.